Welcome to Foxboro Stadium for today's game between two teams at opposite ends of the spectrum. A team synonymous with victories, the 49ers, and the league's only winless squad, the Patriots. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, on paper, this looks to be a real mismatch. San Francisco seems to be regaining its Super Bowl form of 3 seasons ago, while the Patriots at 0-4 are off to one of their worst starts in team history. My partner is John Robinson, and John, there's been a lot of internal management bickering. Players last week yelling at each other and over the coaches. But what about on the field? Do these guys have a shot at it?
Oh, sure they do. But they've got to stop beating themselves. So far this season, they haven't scored a point in the first half. They've given up 14 turnovers and 21 sacks. They desperately need to get off to a good start offensively.
Steve Young is at the helm, not Joe Montana, but the offense seems to be working as well as ever.
It is, and they blend the run and the pass so well together. Our conversation with Steve Young yesterday indicated that he's very confident and very relaxed about his role as the leader of this offense. And everybody else on this team feels the same way about him.
Overcast conditions here in New England. In Foxboro, the forecast appropriate. New England has won the coin toss, has elected to receive. Mike Cofer will be kicking off for San Francisco. And among others, back deep for New England, John Vaughn. You see his average there on kickoff returns. Second-year player out of Michigan. We're underway here at Foxboro Stadium, and it's Walter Stanley from the goal line, and Stanley takes it up to about the 20-yard line, and Jordan with the tackle for San Francisco. Hugh Millen at the helm for New England, a man who's been most concerned about saving his life the last few weeks, and he's got a problem offensive line.
Well, they're going with Ricosi at the right guard in place of Eugene Chung. This line has not gotten off to a good start. They need something good to happen to him right away.
Irving Fryer doing the job, but a surprising change in the backfield. John Stevens moves up and plays Leonard Russell, who's inactive. 1st and 10 from the 20. On the ground, and the flag stops the play before it even gets underway. John Stevens was the ball carrier.
Well, they were illegally in motion that time, the left guard, and so the things that have beset them start right off.
False start. Number 70 the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Dick McPherson. Second season here at the helm of New England. 6-10 last season, winless thus far, and Dick has been doing his best to keep a very positive face on a very difficult set of circumstances, to say the least.
And that's not the right way to start.
You're right. It's now 1st and 15. On the ground again, and Stevens gets it back up near the original line of scrimmage. Gain of 4 will make it 2nd and 11. Don Griffin, the only experienced guy in a problem-plagued defensive secondary for the 49ers, but an experienced front line on D.
Yeah, that's an outstanding group of people up front.
Linebacking for Tim Harris, off to a Pro Bowl start. And the secondary, young, as we mentioned before, Griffin the most experienced. On the ground again, as Stevens carries it ahead for about 3 yards. And John, what we're seeing, no huddle, not necessarily hurry up, but a no huddle offense on the part of New England.
Well, I think they're just trying to jumpstart their offense and maybe get San Francisco off balance. They've given it up already. They're back in the huddle now. They substitute some players. On the no huddle, if you substitute, then the defense gets time to put their substitutions in. So from a hurry-up standpoint, there's no advantage if the offense substitutes.
And you saw the graphic. New England has been inept, to say the least, in the first half. Through the games thus far, has not scored a point. On 3rd down, Miller has time. Complete, and he has the first down. Ben Coates, the big tight end out of Livingstone College, tackled by David Whitmore. Well, so already immediate dividends.
Yeah, and Ben Coates has done a good job for them. Cook is their starter, and he's injured with a hamstring. They really believe Coates has a future. And that's been the 49er problem up to this point. They're back up on the ball and no huddle now.
14 yards picked up on a play. 1st and 10, ball at the 36. Out of the I formation. This is Stevens again, and Stevens bullying his way ahead for about 2. Big John Stevens, 5th-year player out of Northwest Louisiana State. And as we mentioned, slated at the top to go from fullback to running back. That's because of Leonard Russell. I guess the thing we can say about him, just big body bruises all over the place. Musgrave and Taylor, the inactives for San Francisco. Scott Zolik and Leonard Russell, the inactives for New England.
Well, Stevens has been a fullback all year. He used to be the tailback, used to be the man that ran the ball here. Now he gets a chance again.
2nd and 8. Miller with time, batted down, and is it intercepted? And in fact it was. Give Tim Harris the credit for batting the ball up in the air.
Well, as Yogi Berra would say, this is deja vu all over again. You know, they come right off and they have the big turnover, and this is what's happened to this football team. You know, right from the start this season, and here they're doing it again. Tim Harris, who has made a big play, came into the game with a bad knee, and it looks like he's re-injured that knee.
And you can see the reaction on the part of Tim Harris. Very upset. I mentioned that he was starting off in Pro Bowl fashion. 6 sacks on the season through the first 4 games, and it was Tim Harris who batted the ball that Dennis Brown ultimately recovered.
Well, here we get a look at the sack. Millen has enough time. He's looking to the left, doesn't find it. The pockets collapse. There's athletic move by Harris. He doesn't get the interception, but he sure caused it, and he paid a price for it. And I think he's hurt.
Watch how Tim Harris's left leg is bent back, John, being hit by Dennis Brown going after this loose ball.
Dennis Brown comes up with the interception, and we see Hugh Millen coming over there saying, oh, no. That's hard to believe that can happen to him right away. Tim Harris is up and walking, so that's good news. It's when you don't get up. He's had a few problems. Look at it, his right thumb is broken. Now his right knee is sore. He's got to get some balance. He's got to get hurt over on the left side there to get some balance on. But that may be the last of him. When you re-injure an injury, it gets pretty sore.
So it's 1st and 10 for San Francisco. Excellent field position. Ball on the 36 of New England. First possession for the 49ers. A boot by Steve Young. Goes to complete to Rathman. First down inside the 25, down to about the 22-yard line. Rathman has been used quite a bit. A 15-yard gain on the part of Rathman.
Well, they start right off with the bootleg. Fake the run. Rathman sneaks out the backside and is wide open. Again, when you start your offense from that positive a field position, you begin to be aggressive right away. 49ers always have traditionally opened the game with an aggressive offensive attack. They rehearse their initial plan, and they are very difficult to handle right off.
On 1st and 10. Waters run out of bounds. Ricky Waters, a gain of only 2 on the play, although he's done quite well through the first 4 games.
Yeah, he's been off to a great start. Here we see the interception. Harris is going to get double teamed and doesn't get much of a pass rush. A lot of times when you bat the ball down, look at it, he's really knocked around there. Now he's just jumping in the air. That's that old basketball ability. Dennis Brown comes right over and picks it off. That's kind of a tag team there, but Harris did not get much of a rush, but he made a good play.
And the word from the bench is a sprained knee on the part of Tim Harris. Return is probable. 7 and 8. San Francisco, no score. All at the 19 of New England. Young back to pass. And goes it, and it's intercepted, it looks like, by Rod Smith of New England. The rookie out of Notre Dame comes up with a big pick, his first interception of the season, and that's only the 2nd interception team-wise for the Patriots.
Well, he threw that ball just a little bit behind him. You're going to see Jerry Rice breaking into the middle. The ball's thrown on his back hip. There you see it. It looked like Smith was the receiver, not Jerry Rice. That's just a bad throw by Young.
New England last in the league in turnover ratio, -11. Maybe this is a positive start for them. As Smith comes up with his first career interception, the rookie out of Notre Dame, 1st and 10 for the Patriots on the 4. And they slip in the running game, and there has been a lot of rain falling off and on the past day or so, so the surface may be a little slippery.
Here again, we look at the interception. You'll see Jerry Rice is going to be in a position where he gets his body inside the defensive back. There's no safety man. See Rice start up, break to the middle. Everything they want is there, except the ball just isn't thrown properly. It's thrown behind him, and that was the interception. 2 feet further would have been a touchdown.
Live action again as New England trying to take it straight ahead again. On the last play, there was no gain. Back to the line of scrimmage, Sam Gash.
I think the ball came out that time, but it was after the whistle, and they ruled it down. But I think everybody on that New England team said, oh, no.
Not again. Sam Gash, as you take a look at him, a rookie out of Penn State, playing in this game against his cousin, Thane Gash. And Sam, the younger one, saying he's got some power running he'd like to display and running over his cousin.
Well, he's got more problems worrying about his cousin, but it would probably be fun for both of them if they connect.
3rd and 5, 4 wide receivers in for the Patriots. And draw. And let's see where the ball is marked with respect to the...
I think it's going to come up a little bit short. The 49ers have had problems with their nickel pass defense package. People have hurt them. The first series of downs, the Patriots got a big first down on nickel, and that's something probably the 49ers are the most worried about from a defensive standpoint. They play the run well. They have a good zone pass defense, but for some reason in nickel, they're not generating the rush, and they're giving people open seams.
John Vaughn was the ball carrier, the second-year player out of Michigan, and again, it looks like the spot is a good one. Well, now, John, interestingly, it looked to be about an inch shy of it from up here, but New England is given the first down and a break they may be able to capitalize on.
Where that ball is marked is so important to you, to what you're doing, and a lot of times the official that's marking it is 30 yards away from it, and he's just guessing as he runs in there. A lot of times they run in there kind of weaving back and forth trying to find where the ball is.
9:30 left in the first quarter play. Second possession for the Patriots, no score. And all offsides, of course, is Kevin Fagan. Flags on the play. Dale Hamer is our referee today.
Well, New England's got to feel pretty good. The other guys are making the errors now, not just them.
Offside. 78 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, he called it on 78. Pierce Holden. It looked like Kevin Fagan was the guy who was offsides, but suffice it to say, still offsides.
Here we see the man that jumps offside, Kevin Fagan. He's offside by about 4 feet here. This is definitely offside.
And not 78. 1st and 5. And Vaughn goes nowhere. John Vaughn not finding any place to go as Kevin Fagan trying to make up for the offsides move. Slams into the ground at the line of scrimmage.
They're back up in the no huddle again now. 2nd down and 5.
Three wide outs in for the Patriots. Millen trying to signal something to, I believe, Michael Timpson. Millen taking a hard hit as he gets the yardage for the first down, but boy, did he pay the price. Now, we mentioned at the top, John, you did, sacked 21 times this season. You would think his body is taking enough beating, but yet he goes out and exposes himself.
Well, this is a broken play. I think Millen turns the wrong way. Then he says, well, if Steve Young can do it, I can do it too. Well, maybe I don't want to do it when you got to get in like that. But he got a first down, which was very important for them right now. They're moving the ball out from deep in their own territory.
George Seaver, head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. 1st and 10, ball at the 25. The draw play to Vaughn. And Vaughn, nice little seam that time as he works his way ahead to the 30 for a gain of 5. That will bring up a 2nd and 5 for New England. Still no score. First quarter action, James Brown along with John Robinson.
Well, Tim Harris is back in the football game for the 49ers, so that's good news for them. He is an extremely important player for them from a pass rush standpoint. They seem to be trying to run at his side, trying to take a little of that pass rush off him. But he's a dangerous rusher and well on the way from a sack total to be at 19 or 20 rushes.
On 2nd and 5. Vaughn trying to skip his way to a hole, and a gain of just 1 will bring up a 3rd and 4 for New England. And New England, as we mentioned at the top, trying its best to really break out of a serious malaise. No points in the first half thus far this season, and John, these stats aren't pretty either.
Yeah, that's nothing but bad news. But again, if they can just get some sense of rhythm, they put 2 first downs together here, and that's kind of a start. Just try not to make the error and let the thing come as it goes. But boy, they've made enough errors to last a lifetime. And Hugh Millen has had enough sacks to kill a normal man.
3rd and 4. Millen going back to a second read, overthrows the intended target, Ben Coates, but there is a flag on that side of the field. Make it 2 flags.
Well, you get a look at Millen here. At time, it looked to me like he was looking to the left side and just in an afterthought threw the ball back to the right. His feet were not set properly, and he just kind of slung it out.
Pass interference, defense, number 41, first down.
And David Whitmore, 3rd-year player out of Stephen F. Austin, the guilty party. So it'll be a first down for the New England Patriots.
We'll see on the right side of the screen. Millen spins around, throws the ball to the right. He's got him covered, but his left hand is wrapped around him, and that's what the official sees. David Whitmore was the defender.
Stevens. And John Stevens running hard for a gain of about 4. We'll see where they spot it. Mike Walter and Keith DeLong on the tackle.
John Stevens gives them a hard, aggressive runner that can pick up the 3 and 4 yards. And that's really what you need on first down to keep your offense in rhythm. Here they are up on the line again. Hugh Millen's calling the play. He's making a judgment based on what he sees on the defense, whether to run or pass. Let's see what he calls.
The spot makes it a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. The draw play to Stevens. And Stevens, using those strong legs, forward progress, should be a gain of about 3 on the play. John Stevens, a big back indeed, 6'1", 215 pounds, out of Northwest Louisiana State.
When he came into the league, James, he was one of the hardest runners I have seen in this league for a long time. I think he got worn down a little bit. The hard runners, the collision runners, if you will, get worn down. And they moved into fullback. He's done really a great job for them blocking for Russell. Now he gets his chance to have his hands on the ball again.
New England would like to see a lot more of that. 10 plays in this drive. 3rd and 4. Complete for the first down, so New England. Hugh Millen gets the ball to Greg McMurtry, and a first down.
Well, that's what they need to do. They've converted on 3rd down 3 times now, and they're giving Millen some easy things to do. Dick Corey talked to us yesterday saying that's the thing they had to do, is give him some easy things, not too far up the field. Let him establish a rhythm. Here you see him again looking at the 49er defense. If you can see over those linemen, he's going, bend down so I can see. Now he's making a call right now.
Irving fire, Murphy to the far side, but the ball is handed off to Stevens. And Stevens, John Stevens is running extremely well in the early going here. 4:21 left in the first quarter played. No score. New England on the drive. A gain of 8.
Here we see the ball coming this way now. Armstrong, the left tackle, off the ball, really controls the outside linebacker, and boy, he just does a nice job, and Stevens goes right around him for a considerable gain. They're doing the things that they want to do. They've got the 49ers off balance just a little bit.
2nd and 2. Michael Timpson to the near side. Stevens the lone back. Stevens the ball carrier. Has the first down. So it's been a lot of John Stevens on the drive for New England. A 4-yard gain on the play. And John, let's also be very honest, John Stevens wanted to play for you.
Well, we almost drafted him. It came down to a choice between he and Gaston Green, but he certainly would have been our other pick. And he is the kind of back that I would have liked to have coached. And boy, he's doing a great job. He gets a little bit of a rest right now.
Much deserved rest for John Stevens. Three wide receivers, John Vaughn, the lone back, Vaughn, the ball carrier. And John, I heard you talking yesterday and describing a little bit about Ricky Watters and what he has a tendency to do, and it seemed like Vaughn did the same thing, kind of danced before it got to the hole, and he had no power to go forward.
Well, sometimes you get there and there is no hole, and that's when I think backs have to be able to either see the hole or see what's there and take as little as they can, but don't stop before you get there, because boy, they're coming to get you then.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 42 of San Francisco. No score, first quarter action here at Foxboro. Miller back to pass. Bolton sacked him. Loose ball. Recovered by DeLong. And there's no whistle on the play, so apparently the play is still alive. Mike Walter, give him credit, as Walter picks up his first sack of the season for San Francisco. 3rd, make that 2nd forced fumble.
Well, we're going to see a blitz off the corner from Walter. Walter's the inside backer who moved outside, and again, there's no excuse for that. They've got to pick that man up from an offensive line call, recognize the change. 49ers gave him a little subtle change, and New England didn't pick it up.
For the Patriots on that drive, but turned over by way of the sack. 1st and 10, San Francisco. Young going downtown, incomplete, and there's a flag on the play. Maurice Hurst pulling at Mike Sherrard. Now that was clear at least 20 miles away, John.
And a smart thing to do, because Sherrard had him beat. There was no safety. They were running the post pattern. The safety had come up. That was going to be a touchdown, and he just...
Pass interference. Defense, number 27, first down, spot of infraction.
So that's like giving away a good hard foul in basketball to keep the guy from making the layup.
Absolutely, and otherwise that would have been 6 points. The 49ers opened their series with a bootleg that time, just as they did the first time. Here we see at the end, there, as you look ahead, there's no safety man. He's running straight for the goalpost. Now he's saying, hey, he's already held him there, and he's taking him off his pattern.
So San Francisco will have the ball at the 21-yard line of New England. 2:21 left in the first quarter of play. Still no score here at Foxboro. Patriots winless in 4 tries. San Francisco 4-1. As you take a look at Dick McPherson, the head coach of the Patriots. On the ground, Waters looking for a hole. Run out of bounds by a horde of New England Patriots. A loss of 2 on a play. Steve Young at the helm, 2nd-rated quarterback in the NFL, doing a magnificent job, and he's got an experienced line.
Yes, and it's a very athletic line. They have all played together with the exception of Roy Foster for a number of years. Roy came into that offensive line last year, and Bob McKittrick, their line coach, said, boy, did a great job.
Jerry Rice still dangerous. Ricky Watters, the big surprise at running back. 2nd and 12. Young, deep drop. Sacked by Andre Tippett. First sack of the season for Tippett, the Patriots' all-time sack leader. And that, ladies and gentlemen, only the 3rd team sack for the Patriots.
Here we're going to get a look at Steve Young as he starts back. He's going to set, and he's going to get the pass rush from the left. But as you see, they force Steve to go out, not go forward. But as he starts to run, he has to escape to the outside. The rush begins to run him down.
3rd and 17 for San Francisco. And confusion on the part of San Francisco. Harris Barton raised up a little too quickly.
False start, prior to the snap, number 79 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Well, New England has got San Francisco playing their game. Be illegally in motion, get sacks, fumble the ball, get the ball intercepted. This is not typical of a San Francisco offense. I can't remember the last time I saw him 3rd down in a million.
3rd and 22. Intercepted by New England again. David Howard. San Francisco
Well, that time, you know, I was a little surprised. They have tried to put the football down the field against New England. It's almost as if San Francisco is being a little greedy at this point. So much of the San Francisco pass offense is short-range passes. They would have gotten an 8 or 10-yard gain that time. They would have certainly made an easier kick for Kofor.
Michael Kofor will attempt a 51-yard field goal. He has a long of 45 this season against the Jets. And it's going to fall short. So New England will take over at its own 41. You don't see this happening too often here in New England. 1,000 strong, fog moving back in. And John, we hear a preliminary report from the sidelines that Hugh Millen has a slightly separated left shoulder, but he is in fact going to give it a try out here.
Well, it's obviously he got hit on the shoulder from Mike Walsh's sack, but it can't be separated or he wouldn't be back in it. It's probably just a pretty good bruise.
Okay. John Vaughn to the near side for New England. Millen back to pass, dumps it off to Stevens. And Stevens met head on by Eric Davis, and a gain of only 1 as we take a look back at the play where Hugh Millen reportedly injured that left shoulder.
Well, this is where quarterbacks' careers get shortened when somebody unblocked comes. Watch Walter, just boom, hits him right in the back. He didn't look like he got the shoulder there, but a lot of times those injuries come when he hit the ground.
The handoff to Stevens. And Stevens plows ahead maybe a couple of yards, and that will probably be the last play of the first quarter here at Foxboro Stadium. And the Patriots, while no points on the board, certainly have looked a lot better than they have through the first 4 games. And that's the end of the first quarter. And there's no score here at Foxboro Stadium. We'll be back at the start of the second quarter after this. No score in this interconference contest as we start the second quarter. And statistically, New England coming off of a strong first half will make that first quarter, although there is no score. 3rd and 8. Ball at the 35 of New England. Flag on a play. Stevens drops the ball, but there is a flag. Bill Romanowski smelled that play out from the start.
Well, San Francisco was blitzing right from the go, and I think everybody saw it.
Illegal formation, offense, number 77.
That time they got the offensive tackle for sitting too far back.
That's Pat Harlow. Pat Harlow very upset last week at the way things were deteriorating for New England. So much so that he was yelling and pointing a finger and shaking a finger in the rookie guard's face, Eugene Chung.
Well, those things happen when you have 6 sacks in the first half. Halftime isn't very pleasant. But those things are quickly forgotten if you begin to do something positive.
Sean McCarthy on to punt for New England. Back deep, Ron Lewis for San Francisco. This is a good one. Lewis pushed back to his own 6, slipping. And dropped at about the 13. So good coverage and poor field conditions help to limit the return.
Here's a look at Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for San Francisco. He's done a great job for this team so far, but that was a forgettable first quarter for them. They only had the ball 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and they seemed very greedy to me. That was not a typical offense, first quarter offense for San Francisco. Let's see if they go back to their regular style now.
1st and 10 from the 14. Waters finds a hole. First down, plus about 10. Ricky Waters showing the form that folks have been so pleased with in the early going. Right now, back in New York, a busy day. Let's check in with Greg.
All right, JB, we'll take you to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, where the Falcons have pulled even. Chris Miller to Mike Pritchard makes the reception and then weaves his way into the end zone. 18-yard touchdown early in the second quarter. It's a 7-7 tie. Falcons and the Dolphins, James.
All right, Greg, and of course the last team to beat Miami, NFC team to beat Miami, was Atlanta. That back in 1986. An 18-yard gain by Ricky Waters, and it's a 1st and 10 for San Francisco at its own 32. Waters again leaping ahead for about 2.5. We'll see where they spot it. John, now you mentioned that San Francisco looked a little greedy to you in that first quarter. What do you mean by greedy?
Well, I think they had great field position. They got the benefit of 2 turnovers, and it looked like they were trying to put the ball in the end zone on 1 or 2 plays. Their normal style is to come out and try to get first downs, make 4, 5, 6 yards of play, and then strike as the game goes on. Sometimes when you're a big favorite, you want to get it over with fast, and that is what I think happened to them. You'll see them go back to their normal rhythm now.
A gain of 2 on the play makes it 2nd and 8 for San Francisco. No score in the ball game. Young rolling, throwing back and complete to Jerry Rice, who wasn't touched. And Rice, they say he was. It did not look like he was touched. And if he was back at the original spot, that will be a gain of 13, enough for the first down.
Here's a look at Jerry Rice. Here he is coming in motion. That gives him a chance to push up the field and come down and across. It's hard to play man on him. There isn't anybody anywhere near close to him. He slips and falls down. Oh, they did touch him just slightly. If that were touch tackle, everybody would be arguing and say, no, you didn't, no, you didn't. But he did get a touch on him.
He did grab him in the grocery bag that time. 101 consecutive games with at least 1 reception for Jerry Rice. 1st and 10. Jones in motion. Deep drop by Young. Complete to Jones for another first down. Brent Jones has really been doing a nice job. 7 catches thus far on the season. He had 4 last week for 89 yards against the Rams, and he's been a big part of that passing offense.
Well, when you start double covering the outside receivers, Rice got doubled that time. The guy in the middle is wide open. Here we're going to see him come down, wind up in the middle. Turning inside, Rice is going across. They're all looking at him, and there he is, wide open. That's what tight ends love to have, is run down there and not have anybody cover, turn around and yell for the quarterback.
21 yards picked up on the play. 1st and 10, San Fran at the 32 of New England. Young throws it complete to Rice. And Rice, the toughest to break down after the catch. Touchdown, San Francisco.
James, did you notice the rhythm on that drive? After an aborted first quarter, they came back, got the ball deep in their own territory, and went back to a typical San Francisco drive. A good run, a couple of bootlegs by Steve Young. When Steve Young bootlegs with the ball, he attracts so much attention that even as great a player as this man is, gets lost in the secondary. That was the same play that Rice made the big play. They went right back 2 plays later, back to the same thing, and New England didn't cover it either time.
Mike Kofor on for the point after. 17 of 17 in point after. A 32-yard touchdown pass from Young to Rice.
Here again, the formation's a little different. He wasn't in motion that time, but again, it's a zone defense. Rice just goes in there and stands. Now you see the great athletic move, and here comes his helpers, and it's too late now.
So graceful indeed. Only his 2nd receiving touchdown of the season. He's now 5 away from 100.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
San Francisco on top by a touchdown. 2 New England turnovers certainly didn't help. And John, we were talking again about San Francisco maybe being somewhat greedy in the first quarter. It looked to me like that was again the same kind of play. Was that the case?
Well, that was greedy with some rhythm to it. They did the things that they like to do. Here we see the kickoff.
From the 1. And again, that wet field is really hurting things, and Walter Stanley gets back up and makes a valiant effort at it as he carries it across the 20. Walter Stanley trying to show some of his shifty moves, but the wet grass prevented that. But again, you said that was not a case of being too greedy that time.
No, I think they got the ball deep in their territory, and they just said, let's make first downs. They're great for those long drives where they just keep giving you a lot of variety, which they did that time. And that got them back into rhythm. Early, too many good things happened too fast, and they were trying to make that one big play for the touchdown.
Now, the rhythm that we so often heard about with San Francisco was Joe Montana with the little short dinks precisely slicing apart teams. A little different with Steve Young at the helm.
Well, in this game, they're determined to roll him out and get him on the corner, which they have done successfully so far. And he found Jerry Rice uncovered in the middle.
Incomplete. Ball intended for Kevin Turner as he had it for a second and dropped it.
This is an important time for the Patriots. They've got to be able to make a couple of first downs here and just get back to feeling good. You know, at the end of the first quarter, the stadium was alive. Everybody was feeling great. Now there's a little bit of a lull because of the 49er drive. They must respond offensively, and this is where they've been in so much trouble in the past. If something bad happens, they fall behind, then the big error comes. So these next 2 downs, very crucial.
It looked like New England might have been able to put a dent in that graphic right there. They had a 14-play drive for over 8 minutes, but home team a turnover. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 22. Stevens, the ball carries. And Stevens runs hard into Eric Davis, the left corner, and drives him back for a couple.
John Stevens finishes runs really well, James. You see when he gets hit, he is always going forward. And for the power runner, that's what has to happen. He has to punish the defensive tackler. He has to get that extra 2 and 3 yards. And if you give a man like this the ball 20, 25 times in a game, then all of a sudden those yards start counting.
Ball at the 26. 10:53 left and a half to play. Miller drills it on the fingertips of Irvin Fryer, but Don Griffin was right there providing the coverage. Now, Don Griffin, we mentioned at the top of the show, the only experienced guy back there in the secondary, basically a quiet guy who would love to do only his job.
Yeah, and he's being asked to look out for all of his young friends, which is kind of a tough role. You know, his friends used to be Ronnie Lott and those kind of guys. You don't have to worry about them. Now he's got to worry about Dana Hall and some of the other younger players.
You like those kind of friends, huh? Sean McCarthy punting from his 15. Lewis at the 38. To about the 46-yard line. So it'll be New England ball after that 36-yard punt and an 8-yard return. San Francisco on top by a touchdown as we take a look at Irving Fryer trying to shake off a little something there, but he's having himself an outstanding season.
Yeah, he really is. He's got a finger hurt, you know, and he's standing there saying, I'm okay, but man, it hurts, you know, and they're trying to tape the 2 fingers together. You see he's got a little bit of a splint on there. He's just got one of those fingers, man. When it hurts, it hurts.
Had a career-high 165 yards last week on 8 receptions. This is Waters for San Francisco. Ricky Waters.
Boy, what a great job Jerry Rice did blocking that time. He kept his man right out of the play, gave Waters a chance to get outside and up the field. Here we get a look at Ricky Waters, what he's doing for his football team this year compared to Roger Craig in one of his best years. 88 and 89 were Craig's best years. And look at that production there. It's better than Craig's, and certainly that was a very high standard. Waters fits this offense really well. He came out of college both a receiver and a runner, which fits exactly into the 49er plans. They drafted him higher than a lot of people thought he should go. But the 49ers knew what they were talking about.
A major reason why San Francisco is #1 in the NFL in rushing offense. And a timeout called by San Francisco, leaving the 49ers with 2. We'll take the break as well.
You see here, we all talk so much about what a great receiver Jerry Rice is, how many touchdowns he's produced. Let me show you some of the other facets of Jerry Rice's game. Watch him come off and block here. He is one of the best blocking ends, wide receivers in the league, and he just dominates his man. Let Waters runs right outside. That's a great facet of Jerry Rice's game.
The complete package. 2nd and 1 from the 43. Tippett. Good escapability of Steve Young helps him to pick up the first down. Boy, it looked like he was right there on him. Ray Agnew.
Well, that was one
of out of bounds.
That's one of those things. New England said, "Hey, we're tired of letting you bootleg. We're going to stop it right here." Watch the outside linebacker. Tippett is saying, "No more of this." But it's one thing to be there, and it's another thing to get a hold of this guy. And that could have been 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12, and he gets a first down out of that. That's an outstanding run against a defense that was just late.
Coming into the game, Steve Young leading the per carry at 9.9. He only picked up 3 that time. Waters. Well, the footing is not very good out here on the field as Waters was trying to cut back. And maybe picked up about a yard on that play.
Well, that's one of the things the 49ers are talking to Ricky about, trying to get him to improve. Get it up the hole. If you're in doubt, go up the field. Don't go sideways. He had a lane up the field that might have gotten him a yard or 2 more, but he kind of gave him his triple whammy moves there and got nothing. You know? And George, I'm sure, is walking around and say, get up the field. And Ricky's going to hear George say that when they watch the film tomorrow. And he's already says, I know. This is an excellent head coach. He's done a fabulous job with this football team.
2nd and 9. Young, deep drop. Throws it complete to Waters. First down and a lot more. Ricky Waters run out of bounds inside the 25. Ball should be marked at about the 24. Jerome Henderson finally runs him out of bounds.
Now we're going to see Waters come out of the backfield here this time, and let's just go ahead and roll it, and we'll pick him up as he goes. Come up the field and come down and across, breaks away from his man. Steve Young was looking for him the entire way, and he turns about a 6-yard pass into about a 30-yard gain. Again, the back that come out of the backfield, run a pattern on a linebacker and get away is so valuable.
29-yard pass play. A young man who played wide receiver a lot at Notre Dame. Not much to do there. A gain of 1 by Waters. 7:46 left in the first half of play. San Francisco on top, 7-0. James Brown along with John Robinson here from a packed house at Foxboro Stadium. Well, the last time we left Irving Fire, he was having the same thing done then.
Now he's getting tape on the glove. You know, that's it's one of those things when it still hurts, you're looking for something to make it feel better, and he's still looking.
Little things can cause the most pain at times. 2nd and 9. Complete to Rathman, and Rathman holds on despite the hit applied by Maurice Hurst. Now, it looked like Hurst actually applied a pretty decent hit, but at 185, it might have been like a gnat trying to grab an elephant.
Here's that swing pass to Rathman. A lot of receivers won't catch this with a defensive back coming in, but old Tom, he says, I'm happy to get anything here, man. Give me the ball. I don't mind taking that hit. One of the best football players in this team for a lot of years. Steady, great blocker, good runner when they give him the ball. A couple times in the late 80s, he had 75 catches or more in one season.
Rathman out, Ampley in. 3rd and 4. Young has it batted down. Give the credit to Ray Agnew at 6'3". A good defensive play by Agnew.
One of the things the New England Patriots wanted to do against Steve Young is not put too much pressure on him. They're so afraid of him as a runner that they're very cautious in their pass rush. That time Agnew was a good 6 yards away from him, just watching him, and he threw the ball near him, and he was able to get his hands up and bat it down. Usually the guy that bats down the forward pass isn't doing that great a job of rushing. But with Steve Young being such a great runner, you have to be very cautious how you rush him.
Hofer missed a 51-yarder, breaking a string of 6 straight field goals. This will be a 36-yarder. And it's good. Mike Hofer banging it through. 49ers move out in front by 10. Prior to the game, Francis Bucko Kilroy was honored for his 50th year of service to the NFL. And it was drafted back in 1943, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, an all-pro at guard and middle guard, John Robinson.
We talked to him today, and he said he started playing when he was 6 years old because that 50 years makes him seem old. Did you notice the guy standing next to him giving him the trophy? Mosi Tatupu, one of the great players in the history of this franchise. I was fortunate enough to coach him at USC a long time ago.
And you also said a fine person. From the 1, Walter Stanley. Stanley got a head of steam, but ran smack into Darren Jordan. Nice hit by Darren Jordan. Coming up next, Major League BS. Vaughn and Stevens, the backs. This is Vaughn, the tailback out of the eye, and Vaughn trying to turn a corner, and maybe a grand total of about a yard on the play. Don Griffin helped to string him out and run him out of bounds.
Well, once they got him turned sideways, things were not going to be very good for New England. Anytime you can turn a runner sideways, and if your secondary supports properly, there really isn't going to be much there. There was no hole. He went sideways. He didn't get anything.
Well, maybe that Lawrence Taylor announcement about retiring at the end of the season is having a positive impact on the Giants as they move out in front of the Phoenix Cardinals. Greg Gumbel, of course, would have all the highlights at halftime. And Millen finding Vaughn near the 30-yard line. Live here at Foxboro Stadium. First back-to-back sellout since 1988. And Chicago and Miami came to town. 60,000 strong for today's interconference battle between San Francisco and New England. 49ers on top 10-0. James Brown along with John Robinson. And John, slowly but surely, San Francisco has been finding its rhythm both offensively and defensively. Miller drills it complete, but it's going to be shy of what was needed for the first down. The Patriots needed to get it to about the 34. Let's see where they mark it.
Well, they gave him a great mark that time,
no
James.
kidding, John. They sure did.
It is a first down. Well, New England deserved that. Out of all the bad things that have happened to them, that was a good mark. And New England's done a good job the 3rd down and 4. And they're trying to be very careful with their offense to make sure they get that 3rd down 4. That is so different than 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10. You just, with an offense that isn't functioning very well, it's very hard to make a first down that way. They've done a nice job, but they just haven't put enough together to get points.
4:52 left in the first half of play. New England looking for its first points in the first half this season. Vaughn across the 35 to the 36. A gain of 1 will bring up a 2nd and 9. We'll see where they spotted it. I guess I better be a little patient because they may give him credit for 2 yards here.
No, I don't think you get that 2 times in a row. 1 time is enough. But again, they've tried to run on first down, and they've been getting 3 and 4. John Vaughn's in a tailback now. Not as powerful a runner, and those 1 and 2 yard gains remain 1 and 2 yard gains where John Stevens would push the pile, maybe get 3 or 4.
You mentioned not as powerful at 5'9", 203 pounds. 2nd and 9. Millen back to pass to Stevens. And Stevens across the 40 to the 41-yard line. A gain of 5 on the play. Don Griffin with the tackle.
And this is what they're trying to do. Again, they come up 3rd down 3. Now they feel that they can attack San Francisco in that area. San Francisco plays zone, although they blitzed 1 time in 3rd down. They basically like to play a zone, and you got a shot at 3rd down and 3. And I think that's the key to the New England game plan. Plus, Hugh Millen throwing short gives him a chance to not get killed back there like he is.
I was about to mention he's only been sacked 1 time today, so a major improvement.
He's 5 ahead of last week. Yeah, the 1 sack, though, was caused him some problems.
Well, again, the report is allegedly a slightly separated left shoulder. We'll find out about that. Flags everywhere, and it looks like Bruce Armstrong might have been the guilty party.
That's one of those decisions that Hugh Millen had to make, and he chose not to make
False start prior to the snap. Number 78, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
And that was Bruce Armstrong.
Well, Hugh is hurt, and he's a very tough guy. He's playing with a very sore left shoulder. But that time there was confusion as they lined up. You could see people weren't certain, and a lot of times the quarterback has to use his judgment, take time out, and not use a play that can get him in trouble. Here now they're back to 3rd and 9, and this is not where they want to be. He's going to have to hold the ball a little longer and push it up the field some.
And the ball marked at the 36. 2:50 left in the first half as Hugh Millen signals for a timeout. That will leave New England and San Francisco with 2 timeouts apiece as Millen goes over to talk it over with Dick McPherson, as he pronounces it.
Well, Dick did a nice job. You know, you're in a very fragile situation with a club that's having the problems they're having. You see him try to calm Hugh down that time. Hugh must have been listening to us because he didn't know what to do, so he did take time out.
Now, John, I know this goes back several minutes when San Francisco called a timeout. Why would San Francisco burn a timeout that early?
Well, you know, they use a lot of formations, and what they do is based on what formation they're in. I think probably Steve Steve Young sensed that he had called the wrong formation. San Francisco signals in the play, but the quarterback is responsible for putting the formation together with that play. And perhaps Steve had a momentary lapse and said, oops, I got the wrong formation, and knew the play wouldn't be successful, said, hey, let's use a timeout rather than run a bad play. There's a lot of responsibility on the quarterback when you have such multiple offenses as San Francisco does.
3rd and 9. And Millen gets rid of it quickly now. John, as we take a look at Millen on the ground, that looked to be a play where he was talking about before, because he has been sacked so many times. He was looking to get rid of the ball quicker that time.
Well, here again, they're 3rd and long again now, and here comes the pressure and the blitz coming. San Francisco feels a little confident, and they're in on him again. We're going to see San Francisco come at him more. They've come twice. They've been successful twice.
And he gets slammed to the turf on that left shoulder. Ron Lewis back for the 49ers. Sean McCarthy at his own 20. Low snap. And he does get a pretty good one away. Lewis from the 19. And fumble, it looks like New England may have recovered. And indeed they do. A 44-yard punt, but a turnover. And New England with 2:35 left in the first half to play, with excellent field position and a chance to break that scoreless first half string.
Here's Lewis bringing the ball right back up. You got to cover it up there. An arm goes in and just starts to rip it out. It's one of the most dominant techniques in this league now. Rip the ball out. They did that time. Lewis just joined the football team, and here he makes a big error. There you see, now watch the right arm pull that ball out. New England has a chance. Look for them to go to Fryer quickly here in this set of circumstances.
Give the credit to Roger Brown forcing the fumble, 3rd-year player out of Virginia Tech. And action is stopped on the field. San Francisco burns off its second timeout, leaving it with 1, with 2:35 left to play. Now, John, you mentioned so many teams now. I mean, it's commonplace. They're teaching the strip technique now.
Yes, there's no question that's become a big thing in this league. Holding on to that football, squeezing it, getting both arms on the ball is very important.
1st and 10 from the 28 of San Francisco. New England looking for its first points of the game. Flags everywhere. And it looked like David Wilkins might have been the guilty party for San Francisco.
I think he just came early that time. Millen is staggering the count a little bit. Referee's telling everybody, get out of my way. I know exactly what to say. Get a deep breath. 2 deep breaths.
Now, what did you say again? Was that? Okay, we had the call right? All right, here it is.
False start. Prior to the snap. Number 70. 5-yard penalty.
Oh,
first down.
They say he was actually drawn then, huh? Okay. False start. That'll be on Reggie Redding, the young man who just had, well, we shouldn't say he had, his wife, Kelly, had a baby boy yesterday afternoon. Reggie the second.
Yeah, Reggie the second. And Reggie the second said, Dad, don't go in motion, please.
1st and 15. Miller going deep. Incomplete. Excellent defensive play by Merton Hanks.
Well, we felt they would go up to Fryer, and he's their best football player, and they got a chance to go man-to-man, and Fryer just got covered that time. Hanks did a good job on it. Right with him, pushes him into the boundary, gets his hands up. That's just an outstanding defensive job. Crowded Fryer into the boundary that time. He really didn't have much room to operate. There was no place to put the ball.
2nd and 15 from the 33. Millen gets rid of it. Complete. Now this one goes to Fryer for the first down, and there's a flag on the field as Irving Fryer hauls it in.
Well, that was a great job by Hugh Millen. The blitz was coming, the 3rd blitz that we said they were going to keep coming, and here they came again. Millen stood in there, took the hit. He's got a separated left shoulder, stood in and took the hit. Watch him sit there. Now you see the blitz, number 40, 53, coming unmolested. Bang. Boy, I'll tell you, that hurts. Got the ball on perfect timing to Fryer, who makes the big catch.
6. Penalties declined. First down.
And that was the first reception of the game for Irving Fryer.
See Fryer work his way inside Hanks that time. Now he's got position on him, and if the ball is put in the right spot, a big physical receiver like Fryer, an athletic man, can make that play. He did. First down.
Ball is marked at the 19, 1st and 10 with 2:16 left in the first half. Boy, very unfamiliar territory for New England as you take a look at that graphic. Miller throws it complete to Coates, and Coates inside the 10, tackled by David Whitmore, and that's a first down.
2 minutes. They felt that they could work to Coates. He set to the left, breaks away from the defender, gets the ball. He's a big guy, and he's a great target, and he's quick enough to separate. He did that time. First down.
2-minute warning. We'll be back after this. 2 minutes left in the first half, and John, as I mentioned, going to break. This is very unfamiliar territory for the Patriots. What do you expect them to run here?
Well, I think they're either going to go to Fryer on one of those slants inside, or perhaps Coates, the tight end, on a corner pattern. Coates is sitting over in the left. Let's look for him deep in the corner.
First and goal from the 7. Overthrows the intended receiver, and that was Michael Timpson. Will bring up a 2nd and goal.
He was looking to the right side. He didn't have what he wanted. Came back late, and a lot of times when you come back late and throw in the middle, you get in a lot of trouble. That time he didn't get in trouble. He got rid of the football, which is all right.
Marv Cook has a slight hamstring problem, but is now in the game for the Patriots. 2 tight end formation. Ben Coates and Marv Cook. 2nd and goal. Ball at the 7. Looking for Fryer. Overthrows instead the intended receiver, Ben Coates. It looked like Fryer, as he's walking frustratedly so, was wide open.
Well, they came with the blitz that time, and Fryer did get away from his man, but there was somebody in Millen's face right now. That's the 4th blitz that San Francisco has come with against New England when they've had him in passing downs. Now we're 3rd down. They'll go to nickel. Now it's tough. Look for a possible draw play here. One of the things that happens is San Francisco really tries to double both outside receivers, and watch for a possible draw play. It's not the typical call. May happen.
3rd and goal.
Blitz again.
Incomplete. The intended receiver, Irving Fryer, and Dana Hall providing the blitz for San Francisco that time.
One of the things that happens to you in this league, if you don't handle blitzes or you don't look like you know what to do, that's all you see. You know, it's like baseball. If you can't hit a curveball, you'll never see another fastball again. And that's certainly something they're going to have to talk about at halftime. It's disappointing for them to not get a touchdown, but they have a chance to come away with 3.
Those numbers speak volumes right there. Will attempt a 24-yard field goal to give the Patriots their first points in the first half this season. And finally, the Patriots knock off the goose egg and pick up 3 in the first half.
Well, that's one stat that Coach McPherson won't have to look at anymore. He won't have to say, yeah, right, I know we haven't scored in the first half. They got 3, and this half has gone pretty well for them. They've got San Francisco to turn the ball over a couple of times. They just haven't been able to put as touchdowns on the board. They got a field goal, but they're in this football game, and they have their crowd in this football game. And San Francisco better be careful. So you can't let a club like this hang around too long. San Francisco let the Rams mainstay in the game, and all of a sudden they were fighting for their life at the end of the game. But now we're going to look at the best 2-minute offensive football team, I think, in the history of this game. Granted, we got used to Joe Montana a lot.
And after that, we'll also look at halftime, which will be Greg Terry and special guest Bo Jackson in the studio. They'll all have the scores and highlights from today's NFL action, plus a preview of Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. That'll be coming your way at halftime from our New York studio. And there's the man who knows a thing or two about winning, Joe Montana.
Mr. 2-minute, you know, one of the things when we played this football team and we were down close to their goal line, I was constantly saying, don't leave any time on the clock, boy. Score with 2 seconds left. If you leave this guy 4 seconds, something will happen. He's one of the really great players in the history of the game, and I'm sure he wishes he were out there right now.
The only thing he did was win. From the 1. Flag on a play as Mark Logan carries it across the 25. But there are 2 flags on the far side of the field.
Yeah, that was just a stupid play. The New England defender was clearly ahead of the man, and the man just shoved him in the middle of the back. He may have to ride home in the baggage compartment for that one.
Illegal block on the return. Number 90 penalized half the distance to the goal. First down.
Now they, in fact, may take San Francisco out of their 2-minute offense. When you have the ball this deep in your territory, you've got to be a little bit careful. With 1:40 to go in the half, they have to just concentrate on getting a couple of first downs and not think about putting it in the end zone.
San Francisco with 1 timeout, New England with 2. 1:40 left in the first half of play. 49ers on top, 10-3. Young completes to Rathman, and Rathman's second effort takes it to the 12.
Tom Rathman,
say make that. Yeah, that's right.
Tom Rathman's caught 1 million of those same patterns in his career. You see him do it a similar pattern again, tight end this time.
And Brent Jones has the first down across the 25 to about the 26. You see the clock running down. Steve Young checking the action.
He's telling everybody the play. Doesn't care if New England knows it or not.
Young complete to Waters, and Ricky Waters run out of bounds.
3 plays. They went to the fullback one time, the tight end the next, and the halfback the next time, and moved the ball about 40 yards and used up about 30 seconds. This is what they're so good at. Steve's looking over for the next call now, and now they're in position to put the ball down the field. Maybe try Rice on a crossing pattern, something in the middle. New England's playing a 2-deep zone, trying to force the wide receivers down inside.
And moving the chains as well. 1st and 10, ball at the 37, 59 seconds left in the first half. Young pumps, decides to run it. And Young runs for yet another first down, taking the ball near midfield.
Now he takes a timeout. He didn't hurt his rushing average with that one. He got
Not at all. 13 yards on that run.
Well, they have no more timeouts left now. So they have to put it in without the opportunity to have a timeout. So they've got to talk about getting up on the ball as quickly as possible. New England's not going to let them throw the out pattern unless it's short. They'll try to keep the ball inbounds. They have to get about 20 yards to get in field goal range, which certainly is part of what they're thinking. And if they can find a way to get Jerry Rice crossing the middle somewhere, I'm sure they'll look for him, hopefully making a catch, and then the big run after that.
And don't forget, coming up next, halftime from our New York studio, Greg Terry and Bo Jackson will bring you up to date NFL scores and highlights and a preview of Game 4, Toronto and Oakland. Well, I tell you, I still smile every time I see Dave Winfield, if only because we're around the same age, and it's good to see an old fella doing well.
Well, and he's doing very well, and is that why you're up this morning taking batting practice out there?
Absolutely.
This guy can do it and make all that money. I can't too.
He knew what he was doing, partner. 1st and 10, ball at midfield, 47 seconds left in the half. Complete to Rathman, and Rathman inside the 44. Andre Tippett on the stop. Gain of 6, making it 2nd and 4. Young back again with time. Throws it complete, and Waters has the first down.
Should have gotten out of bounds that time. He had the first down, but boy, that was a crucial mistake. Now they've got to kill the clock or make one more successful play, then try to kill it to get a field goal.
You don't think they'll make mention of that to Ricky Waters, huh?
Yeah, that's a mistake that everybody's aware of, I'm sure, including Ricky.
Come on, guys.
He had to get out of bounds to give them the opportunity. Now they've got a bit of the dilemma. They have to, I believe, try to complete another of those short passes to one of the inside receivers, get up on the ball as quickly as possible, kill the clock, and that's going to be hard to do with just 12 seconds to go. Either that or look for something against the boundary where they can run out of bounds. But this is going to be cutting it right down to the fine edge. Let's see what they do.
Precious seconds expired on that play when Waters did not take it out of bounds. Out of bounds right near the first down marker. Oh my goodness, they say he did not get out of bounds, nor did he quite make it to the first down marker, and time expired.
Well, that play didn't work, but it was really a well-conceived play. A great call by George. I think they gave him a chance to do what they needed to do. We're going to see this replay here, and we see where the knee hits. I think Steve Young saying nobody hit me. You see the rollout. It's a run all the way. The wide receivers are blocking. His knee hits inbounds. The guy actually did give him a shove. That was the right call. That was an excellent call because see there, he's being knocked down by the tackle by Howard. The knee hits the ground inbounds, and he does not get the clock stopped. But I thought that was an outstanding call, a rollout run. Now, we haven't seen a lot of clubs go to rollout runs for the quarterback. Well, boy, what a nice idea that was.
Steve Young does not win the protest, but rightfully so, as the officials are right on top of it, and that's the end of the first half. Score San Francisco 10, New England 3. Greg up next.
Going to show us that the San Francisco had 11 yards in the first quarter, 204 in the second quarter. San Francisco's turned the ball over twice, which again is uncommon for them.
And again, going back to what you mentioned before, San Francisco perhaps being a little greedy in that first quarter, but finding its rhythm in the second quarter.
Definitely, and they're hard to stop when they do that.
From the 7, and Mark Logan, there's a flag on the play as Logan slides up near the 20. And there's a down New England player.
Number 22. Penalized half. First down.
Well, San Francisco is making an uncharacteristic amount of penalties, particularly in the kicking game. I think every time they've returned a kickoff, they have had a penalty which has set them back. And here's the play, the last play at the end of the first half. As you start here, make sure you get a look at Dick McPherson. All these people who don't know what's going on, but Dick McPherson knows. He's going in at halftime. Look at him now. He goes off your camera. Here he comes back. He is saying, hey, man, we're out of here. Come on. Go. Go. Follow me. That's when a leader has to lead there. And it looks like we have a serious injury. It's up in the shoulder. Here we're going to see Richard Tarditt's get his injury as the ball moves over that way. He's the last guy in. He's going to get Antonio Goss gets him from behind. It doesn't look like there was that big an injury. It must have come up in the shoulder or face because he is still down. We see him there. His head is bent back. That's in the neck injury, and that's when it's serious.
And that's exactly why all the proper time and precautions are being taken right here. We'll come back after this.
Here we get a look at the injury, or what the potential cause of the injury here. Here we see come in is hit. You see his head get bent back. Then his own teammate Gash comes in and gets him a hit high up on the arm. But I think the injury may have been caused by the trauma to the forehead, which pushed his head back, because there's a big crowd gathered around him and they're having some problems. His legs were moving, so I think that part is positive. It's when you're down and have those kind of problems and no limbs are moving that you really have problems.
Richard Tarditz, a second-year player out of Georgia, a former French rugby player who attended the University of Georgia, born in Biarritz. And you said that it was an awfully good sign to see him moving his legs.
And his arms now. You see his arms also moving. It's one of the grim parts of the game, and it's just horrible when you see a man who suddenly may be in jeopardy career-wise or health-wise. Suddenly all the other things kind of get put into perspective right away.
No doubt about that.
But it does look like it's his arm. I think that's where his pain is. He may have dislocated or the arm or shoulder. I guess we better not speculate, other than he's seriously hurt.
And we will keep you up to date as soon as we get a report on Richard Tarditz. Young man, as I mentioned before, who was born in Biarritz and originally traveled to the United States to visit family and friends, but decided to enroll at Georgia after arriving.
Here again, we see the finish of the play. We're going to see Richard as he goes down. He watches his head get pushed back and banged it back there. That looks to me where the injury is. And then Gash coming in and kind of sandwiching him. We don't want to be gruesome, but that's you. I think doctors, whenever you have an injury, your team doctors are always calling and wanting the film, try to look at cause and effect of injuries. But there's no paralysis, and I think that part is very good. One of the few times that I've seen a player taken off on a stretcher lying on his side, so we may have a problem with the arm and the upper lifting.
So the ball is marked at the 10. It'll be 1st and 10 as we're coming to you live here from Foxboro Stadium. 60,794 strong. 49ers on top 10-3. Preliminary report, ankle extended his spine. He's going in for x-rays, and we'll keep you up to date as we find out. Waters. First down. Still on his feet. An excellent run and good second effort by Ricky Waters as Randy Robbins finally ran him out of bounds, but after taking a shot himself from Ricky Waters.
Well, Ricky Waters was set out as a wide receiver, comes back in short motion and to sweep to the opposite side. The wide receiver on the left did an excellent job of blocking for him, and that play got around outside. Here you see Waters coming. McIntyre is out in front of him. He does a nice job of waiting for McIntyre to set up the block. He's up the field. Watch him finish now. Keep his legs going. Break that tackle. Continue to go.
This is Waters again. And as you said, John, continuing to go. There's a flag on the play as Waters gets up near the first down marker. We'll see where it's spotted.
Well, this is the most I've seen San Francisco penalized in a number of years. I wish they could have used up some of those penalties.
10-yard penalty, still first down.
I was going to say, James, I wish they could have used some of those penalties when we were playing them, but it's uncharacteristic for them.
Steve Wallace, the culprit.
Few teams in the NFL run the football outside better than San Francisco. Teams are so preoccupied in double covering the wide receivers and concentrating on that they are able to get the ball around. And then, of course, as we said earlier, the wide receivers do such a good job of blocking. They're really a potent offensive team outside. Roger Craig was a great outside runner back 4 or 5 years ago.
Jerry Rice heading to the far side. Rice with only 2 catches in the ball game so far. Hand off to Waters. Waters has a bit of a hole, and he gets it up near the 25. Tackled by Jerome Henderson, a gain of 7 on the play, or reacquiring 7 on the play, if you will.
Well, you can tell at halftime they said, we're going to run the football outside until they stop us. San Francisco came out early in the ball game and said, we're going to run bootlegs until they stop us. Now they're trying to run the football wide. Again, that attacks the area where they're trying to double cover the wide receiver, Jerry Rice.
2nd and 13, ball at the 25, Rice to the near side. Field. Ricky Waters is dropped by number 96, Brent Williams.
Well, those kind of plays usually come when the defensive lineman is on a stunt, nobody blocks him.
And a loss of 4 on the play.
We're going to get a look at Williams right here. He comes through just unblocked. As this thing begins to happen, I signaled the wrong place, and he's over on the other side, but he still came loose and unblocked for a 4-yard loss.
Waters out, Rathman in, 3rd and 17. San Francisco 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversion. And that one must have been tipped, deflected. And Young's face says it all.
Well, again, the cause of those problems were the holding penalty on 1st down after they had put together about a 12-yard run. And again, San Francisco is letting this club hang around and making enough mistakes so that New England can stay in the ball game, which they're doing.
First punt of the afternoon for San Francisco as Wilmsmeyer comes on to punt. Walter Stanley back for New England. Stanley led the NFL in punt returns in '89, and boy, he has to run it. A bad snap. And New England will take over with excellent field position.
The snap was good enough. It was a little low, but he just dropped it. Here we are looking at his eyes. He goes down below the camera, bobbles the football. He could have punted it, but he chose not to. I think he started looking for those sticks and said, wow, those sticks are a long way away. New England's got the chance they had hoped for. Again, look for him to go to Fryer. There you see he's down, wasn't concentrating on catching the ball. Again, look to Fryer early here. Look to Fryer on an out and up.
A golden opportunity for New England from the 31 of San Francisco on the ground. And Stevens ahead for just a couple. And John, New England has to feel pretty good, down by only a touchdown, and now with excellent field position.
And San Francisco doing the things that get a team beat, making errors on special teams in the kickoff with a holding penalty on offense, then a muffed punt.
2nd and 7 out of the I formation. Stevens the tailback and the ball carrier. And Stevens wrapped up by Bill Romanowski from behind, keeps along from in front. And the fans are booing, and I guess the obvious question, John, is they're upset with the play calling. Your thoughts?
Well, again, the theory of what they're trying to do is to get it down to 3rd down and 4. You know, they'd like to get it 3rd and 1, but that's 3rd and 5 now. This is well within their ability to throw the short pass and get the 1st down. Remember now, San Francisco has blitzed in this circumstances almost consistently throughout the 2nd quarter. Let's see what happens.
4 wide receivers, Timpson to the near side, McMurtry to the outside. Incomplete. Intended receiver out of a slot position was Irving Fryer.
Well, they just didn't get the connection between the thrower and the receiver. He was covered pretty well. He had time. There was no blitz. They just misfired, and now they've got to go for a field goal. So San Francisco has dodged a bullet. But the efficiency of the San Francisco offensive team and special teams has to improve.
And not to make excuses for Hugh Millen, but I don't think many of the people here in the stands certainly understand that this guy is playing with a slightly separated left shoulder. A valiant effort just to still be out there.
Now, Hugh Millen has proved his courage over these first 5 weeks.
This will be a 43-yard field goal attempt by Bauman. And it's good.
Here we get a look at a coach who hasn't seen a lot of points scored, and boy, he's happy for every one he gets. We're looking at George Seifert, and we talked to him yesterday, and he was clearly worried about this football game, and now he has cause to worry. His team is not playing this game.
And I tell you, the slippery field conditions continue to play. John, one of the questions you asked yesterday was, with the rain they've experienced here, is this field such that it has a good drainage system still pretty slippery?
Well, it is slippery, but sometimes players slip when they try to make cuts that are too extreme. And that time it looked that way to me. I think the field is good enough for Jerry Rice to get open and run down the field. I think sometimes backs just run out from under their feet. Here again now, let's see if the San Francisco offense just doesn't go back to their very basic style of play and try to make first downs.
1st and 10 from its own 18. 10:49 left in the third. San Francisco on top by 4. Young, complete, incomplete, intended receiver, Jerry Rice, and Rice still with only 2 receptions in the game.
Well, that was just a poorly thrown ball. Whenever you're double covered, you can usually get the wide receiver open on in-breaking patterns. That was a quick 3-step drop, and Steve just didn't deliver the ball to Jerry.
You chatted with Jerry Rice yesterday. Any signs of frustration on his part, although the team is winning?
No, I don't think so. I think he realizes, intellectually at least, that he's being doubled and that the ball has to go to other people, and that eventually the thing will come back to him. But the accuracy of the throw.
2nd and 10. Throws it complete for the first down, and an excellent drill pass by Steve Young as he finds Odessa Turner.
Well, again, the first one wasn't on the money, but that one sure was. We're going to see Odessa Turner down, start breaking up the field behind Rice. Look at the attention everybody has on Rice. There's Odessa Turner, boom, in the middle, good catch. But did you see as Jerry Rice ran across, half the people in New England ran across there with him.
So Odessa has someone to thank for that 19-yard pass play. 1st and 10. Ball at the 37. Complete. And Waters takes it up to about the 46-yard line. 8 yards on the play. Well, we were talking about Jerry Rice, and as you said, intellectually, he recognizes he's being doubled a lot.
Well, here you get a look at his production to this point in the season. Yards per reception. He's not getting that big play down the field. He got one here in this game in the first half where he got the ball in the medium range and then ran for the touchdown. But he's not getting those long bombs for 6.
And Steve Young didn't seem to be concerned either. He says, hey, we'll get it to him. His numbers will be up there as the season goes on. 2nd and 2. Waters, halfback option. Going for Rice. Incomplete. And David Poole was right there with Jerry Rice. Boy, San Francisco trying to come out deep out of the bag to find ways to get the ball to Jerry Rice.
Here we're going to see the sweep. We talked earlier how important the sweep is. Look up here in the top. We're not going to see that the defensive corner worry at all about the sweep. They can run that forever. Waters stops. Former high school quarterback said, man, I'm back home. He gets a nice spiral, but there is excellent coverage there. There's just no room for Jerry Rice to get up and make the catch. Boom, looked like a javelin throw that time, didn't it?
3rd and 2 from the 46. Rice is open. Young is under pressure. Wicked hit applied by Johnny Rembert. And you'll see a dejected look on Jerry Rice's face as he walks slowly back. And Steve Young slowly getting up after that wicked hit. No gain on the play.
Steve took a hit that time. He's a very tough guy. I don't think he bothers. That worries him. Steve Young was trying to throw the football. You see, he kept his eyes down the field. But New England is doing a good job in staying in front of him, not penetrating too much, continuing to force him to run sideways where he cannot get up the field. Steve Young still trying to find somebody, takes a wicked hit on his thigh. Have to punt. Rembert is very excited about that because that's something they're worried about all week.
Punt nearly blocked. the question is, was it touched by New England? We'll let the officials sort it out. A 32-yard punt.
It bounced close to them, but I don't think so. I don't think an official really had a good look at that. I would be surprised if they give the ball to San Francisco. Boy, I'll tell you, though, they are first down.
New England ball. And John, I tell you, I watched that last play, and Jerry Rice was, in fact, open. Young was under pressure, and you could see the dejected look on Rice's face as he came to the sidelines. But again, he's got to understand his guy's under pressure.
We're going to see number 28 run down the field, Dion Lambert. Watch him now, see if we don't see that it hits. Here's Lambert here to see if that thing, it hit his leg, bounced away. New England still came up with it. They're still having a conversation about it, however.
Well, you know, without replay.
You're talking about Jerry Rice. You know, the receiver sees such a distorted picture of what's going on back behind where the quarterback's throwing the football. He's saying that he's open, but when he's open, is the quarterback able to see him? We're going to have a change here, it looks like.
There was a question of first touching. The ball was first touched by the receivers. The receivers recovered. First down, receiver.
We're going to see Lambert coming down here, right here. We're going to see him come into the screen. Let's see if he gets. The ball is bouncing to him. Boom, it bounces right off his thigh. That was the right call. First touching by the receiving team. That's a free ball, but Lambert gets the ball back. So New England's ball.
This is something this stadium hasn't had too much of, and that's a lot of noise. And the fans have reason to be excited. New England trailing by only 4, 8:16 left in the third period of play. First and 10. Vaughn. No hold and drop. The first man to hit him and stop him was Kevin Fagan.
Well, John Stevens has run at this 49er football team, and Vaughn has kind of run sideways, and there really isn't anything there outside against this club, and that's not what they wanted to have happen. As we talked about in the first half, here's Vaughn stuck back there, and this is where a running back does not want to be. Boy, get down. Oh, he loses the football. See, whenever you're stopped and not going forward, a lot of bad things happen to you, and that could have been tragic.
A loss of 4 on the play, and San Francisco's defense against the rush. NFL ranking number 10. Second and 14. Ball at the 14. Batted down. Hugh Millen's pass is batted. Ruled as an incompletion. And I believe that was Ted Washington. All 6'4" of them getting the hand on that one.
Well, that time they were looking for the tight end Coates on an outside break. Hugh Millen did not get much time. Hugh has had a tough early season, but I'm really impressed with his maturity. We drafted Hugh with the Rams out of the University of Washington. He did not have a lot of experience or maturity, but he's a different man now, and he is competing in difficult circumstances very well.
Third and 14, Stevens. And no doing there, and you know you'll hear booze now.
Yeah, and that was the right foot. That was the right call. This is not an offense that has been able to protect the quarterback when he has to hold the ball. When you're third down and long, you kind of hold that football, and that's where the sack or the interception would have come from. So that was a great call, booze or not. What New England has to do is wait for the right time, hope to keep San Francisco off the scoreboard, try to score, go ahead.
So to underscore it again, the right call. McCarthy. Did not signal for the fair catch. Did New England recover it? It looks like the team did.
Now that really seems like the right call. I'm surprised there wasn't a flag for interfering with the ability to make a fair catch. A New England player went right by him that time, but there is no flag down there. We're going to get a chance to take a look at it. It's the
Sam Gash was the one who came up with the football, And, of course, you got to believe San Francisco is arguing that very point.
First down. The San Francisco man blocking might have caused the ball to be knocked loose. Right here, you see the defensive, the San Francisco blocker and the defensive man coming down the field. It's the San Francisco blocker that is going to knock Lewis off. Boy, I'm not sure. Boy, that's a close call. Another opportunity for New England. They have given themselves a great chance by good hustle on the special teams area.
Yet another opportunity for New England. 1st and 10 from the 40 of San Francisco. Miller. Incomplete, and Vaughn. John, I got to believe Vaughn could have caught that one.
Well, that one was right to him and hit him in the chest. I think he was falling a little bit. He didn't get his hands on it. He got his chest on it. But it's an excited New England Patriot group.
And an excited Irvin Fryer yelling at Michael Walters.
Well, I think New England has to keep its poise here now. They can't afford to make a mistake. They're up on the ball without a huddle. They need the consistent game here.
Hugh Millen, 8 of 20 for 59 yards. 2nd and 10. Millen drills it complete for the first down. Michael Timpson holds on to it. Right now, let's give a handoff back to New York and Greg.
All right, James, at Arrowhead Stadium, David Craig is having some day against the Eagle defense. Behind the secondary, Willie Davis all alone, 74 yards, 21-3 Chiefs in the 3rd over the Eagles, James.
James, look for New England to go to the tight end coach in this thing. They're starting to get San Francisco spread out.
And Vaughn has nowhere to run. Boy, Vaughn is being snuffed out every time. A loss of 4 on the play, and an excellent defensive play by Timmy Harris.
Vaughn's going to go back to the sideline and say, Coach, they're keying on me. There he goes right now. I said, man,
use me as a decoy.
Everywhere I go, they go. San Francisco defense responds well to anything slow that comes outside. They come up and tackle very well. Again, Hugh Millen, when they don't huddle, he has a choice of what to call, run or pass.
2nd and 14.
Here comes the blitz.
Complete. McMurtry.
Touchdown.
John, you saw the touchdown signal. I guess I held up waiting to find out if he was actually down. But let's see if Dale Hamer confirms it.
Well, they did give a touchdown signal. I think it looks like they're going to call it dead on the 1-yard line. I think they were saying that maybe somebody touched him. I think that the call was that, here we're going to hear the call right now. It's either touchdown or on the 1.
Pass was completed. The runner was down on the 1-yard line. There is no score. 1-yard line, first down.
Well, you heard it. Down at the 1, no score. So it'll be New England ball at the 1.
Here we're going to look at McMurtry in the middle now. That's a great throw by McMillan. The safety is outside, trying to work his way back in there. You see him touching. He just got a finger on him. But the safety was outside trying to work on a double coverage on Fryer, so McMurtry got a chance to be singled. Hugh Millen did a great job of finding him. That's a pretty good throw for a guy with a badly damaged left shoulder. But now they got a chance to score. They're going to try to audibilize, I would think, and come away from Harris and to Romanowski, number 53. I think that was their plan as they started.
And Greg Riccozzi reports as an eligible receiver.
They'll go left.
Flag on a play as Stevens.
That was the umpire, and that could be holding, which is just...
Holding, number 70 of the offense, 10-yard penalty, good first down.
Reggie Redding with the untimely penalty.
That's such a tough call for the umpire to make down in that close. The bodies are so low and everybody's on top of each other. I think down there usually umpires, don't make that call unless it's an obvious holding penalty.
So New England, which had the ball at the 1, now has it marked at the 11. 5:02 left in the third quarter of play, and Riccozzi is down on one knee. Richard Tarditz, one injured New England player already carted off the field, went in for x-rays. And now Greg Riccozzi is down on one knee. We'll take the break and come back after this. A major sigh of relief for New England fans as you see Richard Tarditz, number 53, standing behind Bobby Greer, the running back coach. X-rays proved negative. Hemorrhage spine, but John, you said translation there, just a bruised spine.
Just a bruise, and he looks good, and he's talking about it, so obviously he feels good about it.
First and goal from the 11. 3 wide receivers in for the Patriots. Millen. No signal yet. Touchdown, New England. Ben Coates.
That's the corner pattern we were talking about. They go to it on first down. A great throw by Millen. Laid it out there, and he had to make a great catch. They think Ben Coates is really headed for some great things as a tight end. He's a big guy. I thought he landed out of the end zone on that one.
And so did George Seifert, but if it stands up, this is the first time all year that New England has led.
You know, when there's a call that's come slow like that, it's basically that neither official really got a great look at it, and they're kind of looking at each other, and they made the decision. We get a chance to have replay, and they don't.
The point after is blocked. So the lead by New England will remain at 2.
Boy, that was
12-10 New England lead.
That was a big block, James. Now a field goal puts it back in. Here we're going to get a look at the replay. The tight end on the left of your screen, watch him push up. He's a big guy, and he gets a step on the defensive back. Millen puts that ball high in the air where only he can make the catch. He was out of the end zone. He was out of the end zone. I don't think there's any way that you can say he was in. The first thing that hits the folder.
What about the left elbow, John?
Well, that's one of those kind that you go back and forth. My initial look says he's out, but the referee says he's in.
And so does Hugh Miller. Back to live action. You see the reaction of the New England players. Mark Logan took it on his own 11, hit hard by Michael Timpson. And San Francisco will start at its own 25. And John, there is no instant replay in the NFL, but we have our own. And upon further review, your decision.
Yeah, this is when they say upon further review, we get a second and third and fourth look at it. Great catch, no question. Now watch his shoulder and arm hit inbounds. Boom, right there. Right there, you would have to say that ball is in, and that's a legitimate call. Touchdown.
First and 10, San Francisco from its own 21. 4:50 left in the third. This is Waters. And Waters running hard and high, a gain of 5. And John, I guess as we again clarify that the point is any part of the body touching inbounds.
Yeah, any part of your body, you got to have 2 feet, but any part of your body that lands inside and it lands there, he cradles the football, he is in. That's a great call. I questioned the officials and I was wrong and they were right. You see, there's no official in your camera range there. They might have been a little slow to get there, but they came up with the right call.
Now let me ask you honestly, have you ever admitted to an official that you were wrong when you were on the sideline?
Oh yeah, sure you do, because you're always lobbying for the next play. Say, well, I was wrong, but you owe me one for the next one.
Okay.
That never works either.
Randy Robbins a little slow getting to his feet for New England. And we saw Riccozzi on his one knee earlier. And McPherson certainly pleased to know it was only a contact lens problem with Riccozzi.
You know, James, you know, we talked all about the lopsided score and all the favorite and underdog. This is an even football game right now. San Francisco knows it, and I just hope that New England knows it, because they certainly are in a place where they can win this game.
2nd and 5 from the 26. Looking for Rice. He has him. First down. Jerry Rice across the 40. 3rd catch of the afternoon for Jerry Rice. Right now, let's check back in with Greg.
All right, JB, at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Here come the Dolphins. Chris Miller's pass picked off by Vesti Jackson. He returns 30 yards for the touchdown. And with about 2.5 to play in the 3rd quarter, it's 17-14 Falcons, James.
Loss of 1 on the play.
Well, that time Ricky Waters didn't get a chance to get outside. He was trying to take it there. He got caught before he had a chance.
Second and 11. Ball at the 40. 3:19 and counting. Left in the 3rd. Tippett putting pressure on Young runs. And Young finally hit and dropped by Jerome Henderson. But a gain of 6 brings up a 3rd and 5.
Well, that time Tippett beat Wallace off the mark and had pressure on Young. He had to move. He moved forward, almost got a first down. He got drugged down from behind. I think this is a fairly big play for San Francisco. 3rd down and 5. Trying to get some momentum. Try to get this crowd quieted down just a little bit.
3rd and 5. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Mike Sherrard. Now, John, as I looked at that, you mentioned at the top a lot of things going bad with New England, but let them get a victory and play well. That'll cure a lot of that.
Look at the push they get on Steve Young. There's somebody in his face, and he goes down. He has time to throw the ball. Receiver was well covered. Here we go, Sherrod. The ball was there. Ball was well thrown, but there was contact between the receiver and the defensive back.
Walter Stanley back awaiting the punt. From the 21. And Stanley has not much running room. Met head on by Ralph Tam and Darren Jordan. A 44-yard punt by Wilmsmeyer and a 4-yard return by Walter Stanley. And there is a flag on a play way back here at the 45.
We have a post-possession foul, holding number 28 on the return.
Patriots push back at their own 11, 2:20 left in the 3rd quarter play. New England on top, 12-10. James Brown along with John Robinson. New England trying to notch his 1st win of the season. Stevens. And Stevens continues his hard running on the afternoon. John Stevens has really been doing the job on the ground this afternoon for New England as he picks up 45 yards thus far. 13 carries for 45 on the ground for John Stevens.
Atlanta 17-14, 3rd quarter. That one's going to be a shootout all the way to the end.
Cleveland without Kosar trying to hang in. 2nd and 6. Stevens again. And Stevens will not have anywhere near what's necessary. Pierce Holt on the tackle.
You see, James, how Stevens now has gotten them a little bit on first down, a little bit more on second down. Now they're down to third down and 2 or 3 in that area, where now they have some stuff that they can do protecting the quarterback and getting a pass off. It's when they're 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12. That's why deep in their territory, I'm sure there are a lot of fans saying, man, we got him now, let's go for a big one. But getting first downs, and that's clearly been New England's plan, and it has worked with Stevens in the ball game. John Vaughn wasn't able to get that same thing done. Stevens has really done a fine job for them.
Mike Walter being helped off the field. Looks like it was just something minor, finger in the eye, perhaps.
Quarterbacks have a chance to be successful when they're 3rd down and short like this.
And this is one of those that would qualify for that 3rd and 3. Ball at the 18, 1:19 left in the 3rd. New England on top by 2. McMurtry in motion. And Millen is sacked. Second time this afternoon, and give the credit to Dennis Brown, his 2nd sack of the season.
We got a face mask called against Brown as he was sacking Millen from the spot of the foul. I don't think that'll give them a first down, or maybe an automatic first down. It would have to depend on what they call here. Depends on how flagrant, but we're going to have a discussion here. It's a sack, but a face mask penalty.
Have a face mask on the defense. Because the foul occurred behind the line of scrimmage, the ball will be returned to the line of scrimmage by rule.
We're going to get a look at Brown coming from the right side. He is after Millen, but as he reaches for him, his hands, Millen keeps backing away from him. Watch Brown, and just kind of a bull rush goes by Redding. Now his hand goes accidental, but it was at the face mask. So now we go back to the 3rd down and 3 again. Let's see if they can have a better idea this time.
And John, I tell you, I still continue to give a Major League A underscore for Hugh Millen just to be in here.
Yes, and there's no question he is doing a good job. There we see Walter getting a look in his eye. It's the double vision and the pain you get in. Yeah, James, you called that minor. You might not feel that way with your eyes.
And I'm sure his family doesn't feel that way either. Complete to McMurtry. Fumble. No signal yet from the official standing right there. Now, I did not see him indicate down by contact, so let's see who has the ball.
I think he's saying that New England. He was down. He just didn't make a call there. I think he was waiting to see what happened. I think they're going to rule it down by contact.
Well, Paul Weldner is the head linesman, and he was right there and did not point down to the field aggressively as they normally do on a play that's down by contact.
That's one of the things that I think officials are going to have to make quicker calls now that instant replay isn't there. In the past, they were asked to just wait and see, and we would rule it through instant replay. The question that we're going to have is the ball coming out on the way to
ruled down by contact, first down.
Well, now, John, I tell you, I hear you. I think that's the right call, but why not emphatically say that with the motion by the official?
Here we see the catch. Now it's just a question, and he's not really sure. He still has the ball, the ground. When they talk about down by contact, they're talking about contact with the ground, and it was the ground that made that ball come up in the air. He doesn't have it in a real secure fashion. He's got it now. The ball gets moved around a little bit. You see he's still got it in his cradled in his arm. Ball comes loose. Close call.
Now, I tell you, again, without that definitive action on the part of the official, the ball still is alive. All right, New England has it. 1st and 10. Complete to McMurtry again. First down and a lot more. So that's the end of the 3rd quarter. Score New England 12, San Francisco 10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station.
This is what we call throwing the ball in the seams of the zone. Look how quickly Millen gets the ball off. The ball is caught right in here before any of the zone pass defenders can really get to it. You see the ball thrown now, right in that hole. See 3 zone pass defenders all around it. Can't quite get to it. One of them slips down. Nice big play for New England.
First and 10 Patriots. Ball at the 43. Final stanza of play. New England on top, 12-10. Millen with time. And it's complete to McMurtry. So McMurtry, the target for Millen. And a good one the last few series.
You see how quickly the rhythm of throw now is 5 steps and get the ball off. And we've got a worried man walking up and down the 49er sideline. They can't afford to let them get down there and go down 8 here. Down 2 is enough problems for San Francisco. But again, you see the rhythm, the balance that New England has put into that. Dick Corey, the offensive coordinator, is doing an excellent job of calling this game.
On 2nd and 5, the handoff to Stevens. And Stevens grabbed in the backfield. A gain of, well, they say, let's see where they spot it to see if it's a gain of 1 or not.
I can keep talking about the same thing, James, but again, now they're down in that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 thing again that they want to. Now Millen is ready to move. Again, he only has to find a receiver on one of those 5-step drops, throw it quick type plays to get his first down back.
So based on the spot, it's a gain of 1, making it 3rd and 4. Ball at the 49.
Here comes the blitz.
And Millen goes down for the 3rd time this afternoon, and that one goes to Tim Harris. So Tim Harris picks up his 7th sack of the season. That's the 15th team sack for San Francisco.
We're going to see a lot of stunts up front, but basically what we're going to see is too many men come. Hugh Millen didn't quite get a chance to get his pattern set. Here you see Johnson in there on him unmolested. Too many times when people blitz, players come unmolested and hit the New England quarterback.
Now they may actually share that one then between Johnny Jackson and Tim Harris. So that may be a half apiece.
It's a full one as far as Millen is concerned.
You tell me about it. Griffin was the man back receiving the punt this time. Stopped by Kevin Turner.
This game summary is sponsored by Keystone.
To take a look at the game summary, San Francisco not looking very good. 3 turnovers. Time of possession clearly in favor of New England, and the Patriots have their first lead of 1992. We talked about all the troubles beset the New England organization. You said nothing that a victory or looking good won't cure.
Yeah, and that's a sign of good coaching. Dick McPherson has focused his club to be ready to play today. They're doing things very well. They're doing the things that they wanted to do in this football game, and we've got a real game.
First and 10, San Francisco from the 25. Waters, the ball carrier, trying to turn the corner, and does find a hole. A first down, 1 man to beat. And David Poole saves a touchdown run for Ricky Waters. A 30-yard gain by Ricky Waters, and it didn't, John, look as if he had any kind of a hole, but boy, did he create one.
He did a good job, but Guy McIntyre, the left guard, we're going to see here pull out and lead this play. Just keep your eye on McIntyre. There's all kinds of problems out here. There's about 5 or 6 guys out there. McIntyre knocks him off. Watch him keep going, knock him off. Oh, Guy McIntyre just gets hit in the back by the 4th guy. He's going to say, hey, I got 4 guys that time. Nice run by Waters, too.
And the coaches better give him credit. First and 10 from the 45 of New England. Young with a lot of time. Picked off by Maurice Hurst. That would have been a touchdown if he had held on to that one.
One of the things that's happening to Steve Young is that the rush is not coming at him. It's kind of sitting in front of him, just kind of reading him, forcing him to stay there, and he comes very late to a guy out in the flat. That's one boy. As soon as he let that go, he said, oh, baby. Here, look at the rushes right in front of him. That tended to be a little fast.
And Hurst was that quick, too, huh?
Here we get a look at Young saying, oh, please, oh, my Lord. Thank you.
Well, a 2nd and 10 for San Francisco out of the pro set. Young, deep drop. Escapes 1 sack attempt and runs for the first down. That's the added dimension that Steve Young brings to the quarterback spot.
Well, that's just what we were talking about. That time the rush gave him a window. We all heard John Madden talk about that last week in the San Francisco game. He got that window this time, and both. Here you see right here the chance, the outside rushers up the field. These people are caught inside. Watch Steve Young take off, and it's hard to handle him. He makes this man miss him now.
Tim Goad.
Tim Goad saying, I got you. No, he doesn't. Now we look at a very dangerous run up the field. Makes a big play.
5 carries for 53 yards for Young. 1st and 10 from the 24 of New England. And Waters. Nice movement, but swarmed nicely that time. You know, Steve Young, so much has been talked about his running ability. He actually kind of cringes, but it really is an asset that I think his teammates are finally starting to accept.
And Steve Young is very comfortable running. He's like a running back. We asked George Seifert, does he cringe when he sees him take off? And George, no, he says, I'm going past that. I just see him as a runner. Look at Steve Young's average per carry, 9.9, and I'm sure that's starting to go up today rather than down.
You can bank on that. Mathematically accurate. 1 second down. Young throws it complete to Rathman. Nice catch on a part of Rathman, who has to reach down near the shoe tops to put it in. A gain of 4 on the play.
New England is determined to take that bootleg away. That may be the last bootleg we see from San Francisco, because now in the second half, late first half, they've had somebody up the field. That was Steve Young's athletic ability that let him get that pass off and let him get a completion.
Brings up a 3rd and 6 for San Francisco and the 49ers. 3rd down conversions, 0 for 5.
We got a blitz coming.
Young has the 1st down. Steve Young gives the 49ers the 1st down with his running ability.
That was the same play that they used at the end of the first half. That's just an old rollout run for the quarterback. Watch the wide receivers. Jerry Rice come in. You saw him flash through your screen. Steve Young is just a rollout runner, kind of like the old single wing, roll out and run the football. Jerry Rice, again, as we commented earlier, willing to go in there and use up his body to make a play go.
Steve Young brought the 49ers back last week against the Rams, putting them in position for that 21-yard field goal by Mike Cofer, trying to come from behind again. 4th quarter action. 9:40 left. Young complete to Waters. And Waters fighting with the second effort, getting down to about the 2. And it'll be 1st and goal from the 2, an 11-yard pass play from Young to Waters.
Waters is a powerful man, and when he attacks tacklers, as you'll see on this play, he is really difficult to handle. Sometimes he stops and tries to make people miss it. Watch him. Young looks downfield, goes to the swing right away. It's accurate on the money. Now watch Waters come up and attack him right into him, breaks that tackle, goes on and gets the 1st down. They're on the goal line. The goal line offense.
1st and goal from the 2. Young. Touchdown, San Francisco, Ricky Waters. 1st receiving touchdown of the season for Waters. Waters that time looked to have beaten Deion Lambert.
Well, that time the thing just broke down. What San Francisco wanted to do is throw the ball to Jerry Rice in the flat right now. That wasn't there, so Young was scrambling and Waters just came open. I don't think they had any real plan to throw him the ball. But that's what a guy who thinks he's a receiver says, hey, I'm going to get open.
Kofa with the point after as San Francisco goes back in front. 49ers lead it 17-12.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. Cold filtered Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry. And by the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be.
San Francisco back on top 17-12, 8:52 left in the game here at Foxboro Stadium. James Brown along with John Robinson. New England hanging tough, looking for its first victory of the season. John Vaughn to the near side, Walter Stanley to the far side, and this is Stanley, 3 yards deep, decides to bring it out. And Stanley is going to make it only back to about the 13. John Johnson, among others, with the tackle as we take a look back at the touchdown for San Francisco.
Here we see Jerry Rice coming in motion, and they tried to throw him the ball out in the flat. Waters was just simply running out here, and then when the play broke down, said, I'm going to get open in the end zone. Watch Steve Young's right now trying to throw to Rice. Nothing's there. Now Steve Young's stuck. He's scrambling, but he keeps his eyes on the field. Ricky Waters is running in the end zone. Hey, watch the catch, both feet in, and now watch, I got a little bit of a move. That's the first half of the move. In about 2 years, he'll have that move down.
And that's about as much of a dance as Seifert would allow. Kind of like Joe Gibbs in that regard.
Short dances.
Very low-key coach. First and 10, ball at the 14 for New England. The draw to Stevens, and Stevens nowhere on the play. Timmy Harris is waiting for him, but tackled from behind by Ted Washington.
You know, it would seem to me that they would start thinking about getting back to Coates again. Ben Coates really helped them at the end of the game against the Jets. He set out as a wide receiver. He's a big physical guy. He can get that 8 or 10 yard catch. Let's see if they start thinking back towards him. It looks like they've forgotten about him a little bit.
No gain on the play, making it 2nd and 10. 8-10 left in the game. Miller with time, drills it complete, and there's the man you said they needed to find more, Ben Coates.
And that's what they really are trying to do. If they had had a successful run on first down, that would have fallen right into their pattern.
Instead, that's only a 4-yard gain on the play.
This is a guy with a real future for this team. He's big and he's strong and he can catch the ball. So often big tight ends don't catch or aren't maneuverable, and the smaller ones can't block. So this is one of those rare guys that can do them both.
3rd and 6, Miller. And Millen goes down again. 4th sack of the afternoon on Hugh Millen, and that one goes to Pierce Holt, I believe, and if so, that's his 3rd sack of the season, 15th of the year for the team.
Well, that time, you know, that was a coverage sack. He had good enough pass blocking to hold out there. There's no place to throw the football. They put 3 receivers all the way up the field. Hugh's just trying to look for his wide receiver on the left. He just doesn't have anything to do. Covers up the football and takes yet one more sack. They're going to take about 10 years off this guy's life if they don't let him get rid of the ball and protect it.
And yet another hit on that injured left shoulder. McCarthy punting it away. Griffin from midfield. And gets it back to about the 41. A 36-yard punt by McCarthy and 8-yard return by Griffin. Right here on CBS. Bob McKittrick of San Francisco.
Bob came with Bill Walsh in San Francisco and has established one of the better offensive line traditions in the league. As you see, their offensive guards do such a great job blocking the corners. This man is one of the best offensive line coaches in football.
7:07. San Francisco up by 5. Waters. And a good tackle, a good trip, if you will, in the backfield, applied by Roger Brown. Now, John, synopsize, if you will, what the situation is at this point, what New England has to do.
Well, New England has to get the ball back and particularly has to do what they just did, force San Francisco for a loss. San Francisco is 10 yards away from field goal, and if they get a field goal, they go up 8 points, which really gives them a pretty secure lead. That missed extra point can come back and haunt New England, but the loss on first down forces San Francisco to have to throw here.
2nd and 10. 6:29 left in the game. 17-12. San Francisco lead. Complete to Waters. And Waters ahead on the pass play.
And again, the high percentage pass that gives part of that yardage back. Now again, they're down. They're about 3rd and 6 or 7 in there, and now they have a chance again to look for the first down. Key play in this football game. That's too far to kick the field goal. They'd have to go for a punt here. If they get the first down, then they've got problems. There's 5:58 left. This may be the biggest play of the game so far.
3rd and 6. San Francisco 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversion. Odessa Turner in motion. And Young, with that added dimension, runs for the first down. Boy, what a weapon to have.
You know, it's different than the way Joe Montana did it, but here again in the crucial place, he comes up with a big play. And again, he's finding that window up the field. Again, the pass rush is up the field, and there is an opportunity for him to make the run here. It's something New England didn't want to let happen. As we started, he's back, he's looking. Now you see, boy, that's not a window, that's a barn door there. And that's just an obvious enticement for him to run up the field. He does, first down. Here he gets hit, and he doesn't mind getting it. He's not going to go down easy.
7 carries for 69 yards for Young. 1st and 10 from the 27. Waters. Burned by Waters for the first down. Ricky Waters. John, I tell you, he's so reminiscent of Roger Craig. Not quite the high stepper, but he's running just as hard.
No, and he is every bit as valuable to this football team as Craig. This is a draw. They start Rathman, leads the draw. The guard steps back around. There's a nice hole. He gets it up the field. Boom. Watch him finish the run. 2 hands on the football. They need ball possession. Time is working for them. They can run it down to the 2-minute warning, kick the field goal, or score the touchdown. The run by Steve Young, the play of this game.
Ball at the 15 of New England. 1st and 10. 4:15 and counting left in the game. Waters again. And Waters inside the 10. Ricky Waters doing a nice job. Today's game was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Larry Cavallino. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. And the senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. And thanks to Gary Lynn and Steve Kleinfeld, spider and statistician.
Well, it's 2nd down now, 3:42. Again, everything is on the 49ers side now. Hold on to the football. That's probably the #1 cry. Make sure you try to get a first down. If you do, then they've got control of this game.
Waters leaping ahead, but I think at that point, no gain, 18 carries for 104 yards on the afternoon for Ricky Waters. And John, again, that was the other added dimension we talked about San Francisco had, in addition to that which Steve Young can do.
Here we see, anytime you get a back going sideways, there's Tippett reaching his hand in there, almost gets that ball away. That's the young back who isn't quite as aware of how, how much people in this league are after that football. He almost made a big error, but he did.
3rd and 4, ball at the 9, 2:43 and counting. Young to Waters again. Waters run out of bounds at about the 1. And that, of course, is enough for the first down. It'll be 1st and goal for San Francisco with 2:35 left.
Here you see Waters as the left halfback going out in the flat again. Young is going to him right now. They push up the field to try to get on Jerry Rice. Watch him finish the run. See, Ricky Waters is a power runner, and I think he probably thinks he's an escape runner. He almost got in the end zone. You think of this drive, it's been Ricky Waters as a runner, then as a receiver, with a little of Steve Young in there to put this game away.
1st and goal from the 1. Waters. And appropriately so to Waters. Touchdown, San Francisco. 19 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns on the afternoon for that young man to go along with 8 pass receptions and 83 yards. I say those are MVP-type numbers.
There's just no question. He comes off tackle. It's stacked up inside. Again, you see Guy McIntyre, Tom Rathman. Now they're all fighting. Guy McIntyre gets about 2 or 3 guys again. And Ricky Waters finds the 2 49er fans in this stadium and gives them both a hug. Pre-game warm-up, he said, stay right there. I'll score over there late in the game, and I'll give you the ball. 49ers know how to win in the end. They had a sloppy day and not a memorable win. But boy, when it came down to it, they had what it took.
Gopher for the point after. And San Francisco adding icing to it, 24-12. I know that you and our director, Larry Cavallina, and Bob Monsbach talked a lot with Ricky Waters yesterday. You guys came away really impressed with his effervescence.
Yeah, he's a kid who's just really having a good time. I think he's a little surprised things are going as well as they are for him. He was really fun to talk to. And, you know, he reminds me of Anderson from Chicago, Chuck Foreman back a few years ago, Roger Craig. They're the kind of complete backs. There aren't very many complete backs in the league now. They have the first down running back, but then on third down, when you have to throw the football, you get a new guy in there. Well, Ricky Waters can do it all, and he's a big guy. Weren't you impressed with the size?
Oh, no question about it. Looked awfully good. But now go back to the point you made before. You said that he had a lot of doubters coming out of college, and the doubters were because of?
Well, he had some injuries as a senior. He missed some games. I think he got in some discipline problems a little bit. Here we see him come off tackle. Look at Guy McIntyre up in front of him, bury the cornerback, a little bit of a mismatch. But now he's outside and strong enough to run the ball in the end zone. But he's got what San Francisco is looking for in terms of his balance. But they drafted him because of those reasons. And that's why San Francisco has been so consistent over the years. They draft football players that fit their style. Bill Walsh established that back when he came. George Seifert, I think, has done a brilliant job. Continues with that style, and there's a sequence of action for San Francisco over these last 11 years that has made them the best in football.
Gopher gets a foot in it. Vaughn will take it from the 1. Across the 20, and Vaughn dropped at about the 27. So it'll be New England ball with 2:22 left in the game. Coming up next, Major League remaining, 2:22. San Francisco on top, 24-12.
Well, this game's not over as far as New England is concerned. If they can go down and get a couple of big plays, get a ball thrown deep in the middle somewhere for you, go short.
To Vaughn instead. And Vaughn driven back, but forward progress. The ball should be marked at about the 26.
They're not going to have time to get this off before the 2-minute warning.
And guess what? The 26 is the original line of scrimmage. 2-minute mark. San Francisco on top by 12. 2 minutes left in the game. New England with the ball. 2nd and 10 at its own 26, and New England has played well, but John, let me ask you, is there such a thing as a moral victory for the Patriots?
I don't think so. I think there's some of the problems that they've had certainly will resurface next week, but what this group of fans that came and or watched today, this is not a dead football team. You know, they were described that way in the press, but they're not a dead football team. They're not as good a football team as San Francisco, but they played well today. And I think a lot of credit should go to this man, Hugh Millen. He stood in there and did an excellent job. He's going to get his.
Oh, no, but actually picked up by Irving Fryer. It was intercepted momentarily, and Fryer came and took it out of the air anyway. Talk about quick, lightning quick hands.
Irving Fryer is having an excellent season this year. That hand is still bothering him. Here the ball is thrown late in the middle. Safety's got it, but he gives it back to Fryer.
Dana Hall had it momentarily, and that one is thrown complete to Greg McMurtry.
And he takes to be
good enough. No, look where they mark it, okay. Or at least one of the players marked it there. Baseball here on CBS right at the conclusion of this game. Toronto and Oakland, game 4 of that championship series. And a timeout called by New England, leaving it with 2, San Francisco with 3.
you know, that was an example of a ball thrown late in the middle. If he had thrown it early, he would have had the completion. It came off a little late and got what should have been an interception.
Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at Steve Young's face, but today is his birthday. And he's got a few fans, family, and friends in the area. Jerry Rice's birthday, by the way, is coming up on Tuesday. Millen, under pressure from Fagan, gets away. And gets the ball away smartly. Happy birthday, Steve.
Well, he doesn't look too happy right now. He's tired, but he again did it for this team today. This was not a great performance by San Francisco. They got off to a shaky start, but when it came down to it, and the criteria that everybody's used to make Joe Montana the greatest player of all time, this man came through in that same kind of circumstance to get the win.
Millen drills it complete, and it looks to be enough for the first down to Greg McMurtry. Clock continues to roll. Stop.
What New England has to do here, James, is say, hey, we can score, and we can get an onside kick, put an alley-oop up at the end of the game and win it.
So the clock is stopped at 1:07. New England takes another timeout, leaving it with one as we take a look at San Francisco's upcoming schedule.
Well, that October 18th date and the November 9th date, both with Atlanta, are huge games for them. Atlanta is a very dangerous football team. They can score with anybody, so I'm sure that's going to come down to one of the key matchups for San Francisco this year. Not looking by Phoenix, but they can beat by, as we said. You know, they can always beat that guy and then get on to New Orleans. But it is a football team that is off on a good start this year, certainly.
Baseball coming your way next here on CBS. Toronto and Oakland. Dave Winfield and company trying to see if they can put a little more distance on the big bats of Oakland. That'll be coming your way at the conclusion of this contest. 24-12, San Francisco on top. 1:08 left in the game. First and 10 from the 37 of the 49ers for New England. Intercepted by San Francisco, Dana Hall. And Hall tripped up from behind, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Urban Fryer. That is the second interception of the season for Dana Hall, and make that the 8th of the season for San Francisco.
Hugh Millen recognizes the blitz here. You can see Jackson 40 coming, boom, he throws the ball. Fryer just doesn't catch it. Dana Hall's just kind of hanging around back there. Now he's back. Now Fryer's going to see if he can steal that ball from Dana Hall again, but he didn't that time. This is a man that San Francisco really, you know, is counting on to be a great safety for him. We asked George Seifert about comparing he and thinking back to Ronnie Lott back 11 years ago. He said they're very different. Hall is not the hitter that Ronnie Lott is, but maybe will eventually, when he gets there, have more range, maybe be a better ball hawk than Ronnie Lott.
Steve Young gets down in what we call win the game position. Boy, San Francisco loves the teams with the new in front of it, so maybe New Orleans better change the name to Nolans. N-A-W.
That's right. And, you know, that's funny how those things go, but going down to New Orleans, or they're not going down there. They went down there and got a 13-7 win, and now they come home to play New Orleans. Whenever San Francisco plays in New Orleans, they have a very close defensive game, and when they play in San Francisco, the game's one of those 35-31 type things.
As a matter of fact, San Francisco probably likes it better on the road. No trouble winning on the road for San Francisco.
They have been the best at that. They talk about what a great job Eddie DiBartolo does for them in terms of giving them the best aircraft, a lot of room, great hotel rooms, treats them great, and they play great. There's a very good NFL head coach talking to an embattled one. Dick McPherson did a good job, too.
And we'll be back with thoughts after this.